Welcome to NEXTGames video on how to solo the high-tier mission battlefield Ifrit on difficult. This battle is one of this month's monthly objectives. They forgot to change the text on the entry from last month, so it still reads Return to Delkfutt's Tower. However, they did not fail to change the text on other languages of the game, and those clearly show this month's objective as Ifrit. Before we show an example of the fight, let's go over the abilities and magic that Ifrit has access to. Here are the abilities and magic that Ifrit has access to. The first two are Burning Strike and Flaming Crush. These are both single target abilities that will do 500 to 1000 damage if they hit you, but they rarely will as these are absorbed by 1 to 3 shadows. His third ability is one of his most dangerous ones, and it's Meteor Strike. It will ignore your shadows entirely but not wipe them, so it'll leave however many shadows you have up, but it will do at times upward of 2000 damage. So it's very important if you're doing this fight that you have at least 2000 hit points. The fourth one, Inferno, is his only AoE attack that's going to hit you and your entire party and all your trust for 500 to 1500 damage, and it is going to wipe your shadows. The magic Ifrit has access to is Fire 5, Flare 2, and Fireja. Of course you can just let Fire 5 and Flare 2 bounce off your shadows, but Fireja has the ability to wipe all of your trust. So you must be sure to interrupt him as he is casting Fireja. The way you do that is one of two ways. One, you can use your Provoke while he is casting it, and about 75% of the time it will interrupt the spell. The other way is by weapon skilling him while he's casting it, and about 50% of the time this will interrupt the spell. Due to this, I recommend you always save Provoke for when he casts Fireja, and as soon as you see it, try and stop it with the Provoke. If that doesn't work, hopefully you have enough TP to weapon skill. If you don't, go ahead and throw up your defense gear really quick to make sure it doesn't wipe you in the process of him casting the spell. The last thing I want to talk about is he possesses an innate 30% damage reduction trait. Antipotent end spell damage, so if your shadows are down, he'll usually do 300 to 800 damage to you just in end spell damage. Both of these traits can be removed by proking him, so very early in the fight you want to make sure that you use a weapon skill during one of his abilities or castings so that you can remove this and start doing some good damage to him. Note that every time he uses Inferno, this damage reduction trait resets and he gets it again. So after he uses Inferno, make sure to try and weapon skill during one of his castings or while he's preparing abilities to remove it. Now let's see what this fight looks like. I'm using my usual set of followers with one exception. I'm swapping in Kara Barura for Shantoto 2. Kara is great at putting Barfira on the party to lessen the amount of damage taken from Fireja if one of those does happen to land. Additionally, it also helps dramatically with reducing the Meteor Strike damage, and it makes it a much less chance that it's going to spike up to that 2000 damage number, and it keeps it much closer to 1000. For the rest of my followers, I'm using Yoran for Cures, Kuru for Haste, Olmia for March, and Seth to continually restore TP, MP, and HP to the party. Since you will be saving Provoke exclusively for when you see Fireja, you want to make sure you have good hate generation elsewhere, so I recommend keeping Yonin and Gekka up at all times. Also, his defense will be high to start with, so I usually keep Berserk up for the entire fight as well. Lastly, as soon as your first melee hit lands on Ifrit, you want to use Warcry for hate. You will want to not use Provoke, as a Fireja going off in the first 30 seconds is not uncommon, and if it lands without interruption and without shell and the bar spells being up, you're gonna wipe. One last note, Inferno is also a hate reset ability, so as soon as it lands, you need to be putting up either knee or sand to get your shadows back up and then quickly dropping a weapon skill, or Ifrit may wander off and start attacking your white mage as your white mage is trying to cure the entire party. Reserve the urge to Provoke if this happens, as that's going to leave you vulnerable to Fireja for the 30 seconds following you provoking Ifrit off your white mage. So he's just started casting Fireja, so I want to quickly Provoke, and as you can see, the two blue exclamation marks were above his head, which means we've interrupted him. Now we can continue on with this fight. This also means he is in a weakened state until the next time he uses Inferno. Let's see how the rest of this fight goes.